everyone, I am Daniel of Earth, and this is the very first video of my Forest Well painting. The colors I will be using for this painting are Titanium White, Mars Black, Burnt Umber, Hooker's Green, Burnt Sienna, and Primary Blue. For the start of this painting, I'm going to prime my canvas by putting down a layer of liquid white, and then while that dries, I'm going to go ahead and mix my other colors here. I'm using this fan brush down at the bottom to create my first layer of grass. This is going to be a layered painting, so what I'm going to do first is put down my first layer, and then after I'm done with that first layer, I'm going to put down a layer of white paint. I'm going to do this so that the backmost layer of the painting will be the most white and look the most foggy, so that we have that good depth feeling throughout the entire painting. I'm also not going to be putting as much detail in these background trees as I will be in the foreground trees, because as all good artists know, and as you learn throughout your art career, if you're going to have one, or just as a hobby, that things farther away have less detail, and that is one of the ways that we create depth in our paintings. I'm using my fan brush to create both texture in the grass and in the tree leaves for this painting. And this is the first time that I'm really using a fan brush for this sort of thing, because I just recently purchased it. It was a little bit difficult in some of these smaller areas to not create a mess with the edges of the fan brush, so I might go looking for a fan brush that is a little not quite as wide as this one. That way I can have two, one wide one and one narrower one, and I can really get in those smaller details. But I may do by using the edge of the fan brush instead of the whole thing. At first, I was painting the foreground and then letting it dry and painting on the white in one session, but I later decided that it would be easier for me if I did the white first because it dried faster, and then went back and did the foreground again. Now, I had a bit of an issue starting out. I used a rag with my white paint and I put on far too much at the very beginning, so you see me kind of frantically going through here and trying to get it to the right amount of white paint. Going into this, I had a lot of confidence with my tree making abilities, but doing it, I had a lot of points where I would look back at the painting and wonder, do I really know what trees look like? And the answer was no for a lot of it. And I would just have to deal with that, and I covered up the parts that looked a little bit iffy. But I got more used to painting trees as I went along, and the ones in the foreground looked a bit better than these. Doing part of this, I was also having a bit of an issue with the white going onto the canvas. You could see a lot of the canvas grid in some of the white, especially in the darker areas. And that kind of persists throughout this painting, which I'm not really happy about, but I think it looks okay in the end. And it's not really noticeable unless you look pretty closely. I also changed my technique for putting on the white paint for the last session, and I think that instead of using the cloth, I would prefer to use the paintbrush like I did in my last session of putting on white paint. So it's just kind of a learning process as you go, and you get used to it over time. This is something that I've never really done before, this type of layered fog painting. I actually got the idea from someone on TikTok, and I'm going to see if I can find their name here to give them credit. Their name on TikTok is @Brellian. That is @BRELLIAN. They are a wonderful painter, and I think that you should definitely all go check them out. A lot of their forest paintings are like this, and they do a much better job of making these than I do, and they're just really nice paintings. Again, that's @Brellian. BRELLIAN. I do hope I'm saying that correctly, but if I'm not, I'm very sorry to them. And this is going to be my last white coat for this session, and that's going to be the end of this part. I hope to see you all back here for part 2. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.